If you felt lost or directionless in your life, this eclipse on September 21st is an excellent time to remember what your goals, visions, and dreams are for your life, as well as figuring out how to make all of that a reality. Now, I do really want to go into how this is going to be impacting all of the different signs. We'll also kind of be breaking down this eclipse a little bit further, but I'm also really excited to announce that I do have a sale on my website through the month of September. You can get 34% off any astrology chart reading using the code ECLIPSE until the end of September. You can find the link in the description down below for my website, where you can also find intuitive readings and distance energy healing sessions. I do also have links in the description for all of my other social media accounts, so that way you know you are following me and you're not going to get scammed or experience any fake accounts here. So the eclipse on September 21st is pretty interesting. We do have this almost a sense of finality that is coming up. We have the eclipse happening in the sign of Virgo at the last or 29th degree. This is a solar eclipse, so it's basically a very powerful new moon. Ordinarily, new moons represent a time of beginning, of planting seeds, but in my opinion, when we have a solar eclipse, it's almost like a hard reset. It's kind of like the visual of the sun being blocked out, and there's this sense of almost like resetting, like turning something off and turning it on again. So there might be some confusion, there might be maybe some obscurity initially around this time, some kind of disruption that's really shaking things up for you, but this is actually going to help you in the long run. So even though eclipses can be very impactful, they can be a little bit disruptive, they're not necessarily something to be afraid of. So there's some other kind of interactions that are going on with the other planets right now. We do also have Saturn that has just retrograded back into the sign of Pisces. It did enter into Aries around April of this year, and with it returning back now, it's almost like we have one last chance to really solidify the themes that began for us around 2021, 2022, all the way up until the beginning of this year. That's because that's when Saturn started entering into the sign of Pisces, and there was sort of this kind of like this struggle, this crisis of faith, actually. And where that fell in for you, where that was occurring for you is going to be different, very likely based off of your rising sign, but maybe your sun or moon sign could also kind of elucidate what areas of life this was, wherever Pisces falls in your chart. But with Saturn directly opposite the sun and the moon coming together, that new moon, that solar eclipse, there is this sense of reality that might be a little bit sobering. That's because Saturn represents discipline, responsibility. It can also be restrictions. It can also be overcoming things. And so there is this very real sense that something might need to be overcome in order for something new to begin. This is also actually the second new moon in Virgo that we are having this year. The first one was in August. And so we're getting a double dose of this Virgo energy, this new beginning, something that is long-term, something that we are harvesting or reaping. And I think I'm actually just going to go into how this is going to affect the different rising signs, because for Virgo risings, this is all about your sense of self. Maybe the way you express yourself, the way you think about yourself, your appearance. This could be undergoing some kind of change or revolution. If you are a Libra rising, this could really be redefining the way that you are viewing spirituality, your subconscious mind. There could be some kind of recognition of patterns or beliefs that are no longer serving you, and also your connection to the spirit world, to the unseen. There could be something here that is really being renewed or revitalized. If you're a Scorpio rising, there could be something happening in your social groups, your social networks, or with your hopes and dreams overall, your kind of ideals or sense of idealism. This is actually potentially something that could be very much a blessing, and it very well could come through opportunity or networking, but it nonetheless could signify some kind of disruption or some very serious note about you moving towards your goals. Similarly, for Sagittarius rising, there could be something involving your career or your role in the world at large, maybe even your public image, as there is some kind of new beginning or disruption here that is kind of asking you to go to the next level or really step up in some way or really commit to what it is that you want to be or what it is you want to do. For Capricorn risings, this is something potentially involving education, learning, philosophy, travel. Maybe some of you are studying abroad or going someplace or making plans to do something like this. This is really a time to expand your horizons, to expose yourself to different beliefs or different parts of the world. For Aquarius rising, this is really going to be about death, rebirth, transformation. It could also be about investments, as well as sexuality. There's a lot of different things that could actually affect if you're an Aquarius rising, but ultimately the way I would sort of bring this all together is the things that are a little bit taboo, the things that we don't always talk about, the things that society tells us we should put into the closet or just not speak about openly. There could very well be a secret that is being exposed or something that's happening, maybe even kind of like a windfall. There could be something like money coming in very unexpectedly. That actually could be happening for some of you as well. For Pisces rising, this is actually representing a new beginning in your relationships, your one-on-one connections. There might be a new partnership, romantic or otherwise, that is very significant to your life that is beginning around this time. And it can also just represent your patterns in relationships. They might be changing or evolving in some way as well. Potentially even recognizing your own subconscious patterns or patterns that aren't serving you anymore. Maybe you are changing or evolving things here. Now, for Aries risings, this is kind of a time to recommit to new beginnings or new routines, I should say, especially regarding health, work, your daily grind. This is really going to be a time for you to focus on what works for you in terms of wellness and routines. And that's going to look different for each of you. So it doesn't have to be following somebody else's example of what works for them. It's very much figuring out what structures in your life are supportive to you and your goals. For Taurus rising, this is going to be a lot about romance, creativity, pleasure, enjoyment. Maybe you're unlocking some new hobby or interest, or maybe there's someone new coming into your life who's igniting this passion. Regardless, this is actually something that could really be a time for you to commit to your own happiness, your own joy. And that's actually something that almost feels like it's a very serious moment, like maybe a breaking point of some kind where it's like, you know what? I just need to figure out how to make myself happy. I can't be so focused on what other people are thinking. I just need to do what is right for me and do what brings me joy. So that's kind of your encouragement for this eclipse. For Gemini rising, there could be some new beginning in home or family. Maybe some of you are moving, or there could be something going on in family dynamics. This also has a lot to do with your emotionality, your emotional core, your foundations. So there could be something that's kind of happening in your personal life that's really beginning anew, or some kind of disruption here that's causing changes in other areas of your life as well, because this is kind of a foundational eclipse for you. It really could be impacting a lot of different things and sort of you on an emotional level. For Cancer risings, this is all about communication. There could be some big message that is coming in, or some kind of clarity, some sort of answer, some news that is really shaking things up in your life. This also could be you coming into new ideas, new skills, or maybe even relating to the world and people around you, like your immediate environment or your neighborhood, your township, your city, wherever it is that you live. You're relating to your surroundings in a new or different way. So that's kind of interesting there as well. Where were we? Who am I on to next? We are now on Leo risings. This is all about finances for you. This is all about you maybe getting a new source of income, or perhaps a shift in values, changing the way that you are spending or saving. This could all be very thematic, and it is very much about what do you prioritize? What are the things that are most valuable to you in your life? So that's just kind of a basic overview of what could be beginning, or where there is this reset in your life based off of your rising sign. You could also look at your sun sign here as well, especially if you don't know what your rising is. And again, I am running a sale on my website. If you really want to go into the nitty-gritty of how this is going to impact your chart, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at that. Now is an excellent time for it. But there are some other kind of planetary influences here that are kind of indicating to me there really is something here that is being let go. And the more you are willing to release something, the more you are willing to let something go, the more powerful this window of time is going to be for you. And I say this because we have Uranus and Pluto harmonizing together. They're both at 1 degree in Gemini and in Aquarius respectively. So we have Uranus, the planet of innovation, of sudden change, in the sign of Gemini, which is all about communication, maybe even communication technology, or communication in kind of a more physical, material, mundane way. We do have Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, which is all about humanitarianism. We are certainly going through a bit of a humanitarian crisis right now on a global level, or at least in a lot of areas in the world right now. And this is also really kind of this innovative time. Because of Uranus and Pluto working together, there's a very strong likelihood of technology growing. We're already seeing a huge increase and prevalence in the use of AI this year, and that's very likely related to Uranus and Pluto sort of synergizing, and even some unchecked energy actually, since we've had Saturn in the sign of Aries where it's weakest. There hasn't been a lot of restriction in this area. It's almost like things are growing faster and faster, might not always be to our benefit. So even though there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of advancement, it might be a while before we figure out how to use that responsibly or learn how to regulate this more. So that's kind of like a global energy that's going on. But with these two planets being activated by this eclipse, maybe there is something about needing to innovate your life. Maybe you are even using technology in a different way or relating to technology in a different way that is affecting the areas of life that I was just talking about a moment ago, sort of based off your rising sign. And again, Saturn here in the sign of Pisces opposing this Virgo eclipse, but also giving us opportunity with Uranus and Pluto. There are some hard calls that you might need to make. There are some really big decisions where you might need to sacrifice something. You might need to give something up. You might need to simplify your life in order to realize the new beginning that is being offered to you at this time. So it's not something I want you to be afraid of. Eclipses aren't necessarily something to fear, but they are something to respect. And in general, when we're talking about eclipses, it's not usually a great time to manifest. It's not usually a great time to envision things, to set out desires into the universe or to the divine. And it's not to say that we can't work with these at all. I really do think eclipses are great times to cleanse or, again, reset something. So it's more about clearing the space to allow the changes that are happening in your life. And this isn't just going to be impacting you this weekend. This is also going to be something that, again, will be felt for the next 6 months. So if you have any predictions for how this eclipse is going to affect you in your life, definitely feel free to comment down below. I'd love to hear your predictions and how this is resonating for all of you. And I do appreciate all of your patience and understanding with me. I recognize it's been some time since I have uploaded anything. As a lot of you can probably tell, I recently moved. So I'm still figuring out this setup. I apologize in advance, or I apologize in retrospect if there's been any sort of sounds or any kind of disruptions here. I am still figuring out this workspace, but so far it seems like it's working out okay. So I will love to hear from you about that as well. And yeah, I have all of my links again in the description of this video. You can get 34% off any astrology chart reading this month using the code ECLIPSE. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care.